And we went into, in one of the classes, we went into a little more detail of this. Consent, competency, expressly void, against public policy. And we talked about frustrated contracts. And then we've taken up an actual contract. And this was essentials, right? Advantages and disadvantages.
So you postpone for 1 hour. The delay back up.
Yeah.
Speak
1 hour. Okay, now let's check it out. Aishwarya Rai Bachchan and Abhishek Bachchan, they decide to form a partnership to produce a movie. Put in money, they're very clear who's going to do what. They have a deed also drafted, written partnership deed. Normally you have a date, right? On any deed, on any document. Because of oversight, they leave it blank. Is it a valid partnership? Why?
Date is which we needed because when it is what?
Date is needed. But they've gone about putting money in, they've spent on the movie, production of the movie. So why is the date needed? Husband and wife.
Because they have done it, but we want to do it next movie also. What for what purpose when it is done already?
See, the answer is correct, but the reason is a little flawed. See, one of the key things in any partnership is about mutual duties, responsibilities, roles, and also about sharing of returns. Right? So if there is no date, when do those mutual duties and rights and responsibilities kick in? And the idea of having a written agreement is so that at a later point in time, if there is a dispute, you can get it adjudicated. So if it is written and there is no date, you don't know when it has come into being. Because at the end of the day, it is an agreement. Right? It becomes a question of enforceability of the agreement. So the bottom line is, it is an invalid deed. So the registrar of firms, if you were to take it to him, he will not register it. Because of this. So there has been an actual case on this. I mean, not between Abhishek and Aishwarya, but two other partners, where it was decided that the partnership was invalid. All this huge group, they all come together, start a partnership. They can have many people, right? Many partners. 50?
So 4 to 50 members.
Anybody who disagrees?
No, we can have more.
How many?
200.
I don't think I mentioned this in the previous class. See, the Indian Partnership Act talks about two kinds of partnership. One is for banking partnership for basically finance and banking. There the restriction is 10 partners. Regular partnership, you can have maximum of 20. Anything beyond limited liability partnership is something that you would like to look at. So the bottom line is, if you have these many partners, in the US though, LLPs, we know we have KPMG, so many of these Bearing Point, they were all LLPs. They had thousands of partners, 1,500 partners.
It depends on the firm, like is it public?
No, in partnership you don't have a concept of a public firm. That's only in the case of a company. public limited company. Because here the liability is unlimited in a partnership. So if there is debt and there is a claim on the firm of the debtors and they want their whatever money they put into the business to be returned, or loans, monies that they have lent, and if the firm itself has become insolvent, then it will have to be made good by the partners, by the personal. So there is no demarcation between personal wealth and firm wealth. That's actually a negative of partnerships. So father and son chips in money, okay, and they buy the cab. And the whole idea is they're supposed to share the profits. And they have a deed to that effect, partnership deed. Is it a valid partnership? Yes? Everybody thinks yes?
Means they both who share the money and sharing the benefits, right?
Sharing the benefits.
It's a mutual agreement happened?
They have a mutual agreement. Yes?
Yes. Both shares profits.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll go back and show you something and then explain. It's actually not a valid partnership. Reason being this: until and unless the agreement provides for all or any acting for all, the key is, I have not listed it here, what is referred to, maybe it is there in the next slide. No. It is basically the principal-agent relationship. In case of a partnership, every partner is a principal and every partner is an agent. So each partner can enter into a contract, can, basically take decisions which will be binding on all other partners. So in this case, ideally you should have asked, does the partnership deed declare the son as a dormant, sleeping partner? Now, if that had been the case, it would have been a valid partnership. So, again, based on an actual case, a judgment of, I think, the Supreme Court.
So what exactly happened there? No,
See, basically, father, he has put money in.
Yeah.
He's going to get a return. So they have bought the cab. The actual business is being driven only by the father, and he has no role, the son has no role to play. Which means the son can't take a booking of a client for use of the cab. So which means he can't bind the father. So if the son can't bind the father with his decision, it would, son, if he were to make a booking, that will not be binding on the father. So the key test for a partnership is all or any on behalf of all. So that's the key provision. If the deed does not take care of this, the drafting of the deed, then it will be held as an invalid deed, the partnership deed.
True democracy.
True democracy, kind of, yes. Because the only thing is, ideally you would think it is not even it's kind of an authoritarian democracy. Because every one single person can take a decision and then say, now everybody is bound by it. So like for example, if I am a partner, I can take debt, I can go apply to a bank loan, and if I embezzle the money, the other partners also would be liable. Of course, I'm stretching it a little too far because there you would have elements of deception, fraud.
That limits the responsibilities.
Fraud, no, if it is fraud, dishonesty, deception, then it's criminal in nature. So I won't be able to bind with the other partners. But so long as I take a legitimate decision for which the firm was created, it would be binding. So the other partners can't say, you took a decision without letting us know.
So in partnership, there is no demarcation between personal wealth and
Yes, no demarcation between personal wealth.
So whereas LLP, it is clear.
LLP, it is limited liability. So that's the downside of, in fact, in the other previous class, that was why I said partnerships are good for professional services. So there is no material,
No assets.
no assets. Even if there is an asset, it is co-owned by all partners. Suppose a firm, a partnership firm, buys Messrs. Kiran and Associates. Now I can buy property. Suppose, basically the firm. So the firm will be represented by a managing partner. So the seller who is selling the property to me would typically ask for my partnership deed, make sure that I am authorized to bind the partnership. So suppose I am a managing partner and my powers that are defined in the partnership deed permit me to buy or sell property, then it would be a valid transaction. So the managing partner would act on behalf of all partners. So here again, husband and wife, they buy this boat, or yacht or whatever, and their idea is to rent it out so that people who want to spend a weekend on the lake, they can do it. Only thing is, they both put money in, equal 50-50. Wife, actually, they decide that the wife will keep all the profits. Husband is put on a salary. Is it a valid partnership? Why? See, I'm always yes or no, 50% chance of being correct. It's the reason that actually,
Because he is not working partner.
One is working partner, husband is working partner.
okay.
The other one is the real capital actually.
But you said the profit also needs to be shared.
Profit and loss.
Okay, repeat that again. One is a working partner. No, let's say both of them are there. Both of them have bought. So in the sale deed that they sign, or the purchase agreement that they sign, both their names are there, and then they form a deed saying, the asset belongs to both of us. So this, we are creating a partnership, wherein the profits of the partnership or the business will go to the wife. The husband will be put on a salary.
Then that's not correct.
So it's not a valid.
Because every profits and losses is everybody it's shareable.
Okay, is that the only reason?
It's a profit or loss. It is both are bearable.
Both should be better, but even in case of
So you're giving half of the answer. Both of you put together, you're giving half of the answer. You're on the right track though.
loss or gain, because they both put the,
Correct.
so they both are liable for that. In case of loss or in case of but he cannot just get away. Yeah, I'm a salaried person, so why should I?
Is there some ambiguity? Is there some kind of uncertainty?
See, the answer is correct. It's not a valid partnership.
Profit will be shared. Who will bear the loss? I don't know whether it is already.
No, logically it goes to the wife.
Okay.
Because profits, if she's supposed to enjoy,
It is not written clearly mentioned in the law. Okay.
the next.
It's not.
Okay. The next slide will make it clear. So this I will explain. So the question is, they are joint owners. The true test for validity of a partnership, it's not co-ownership of assets, because the previous case, the board was about co-ownership, which was being used. A property that was co-owned was the subject matter of the business, and the proceeds of the business were to be exclusively used by the wife, and the husband was supposed to get a salary. So answer is correct, but the complete reason is not that. It's only 50%. Not sharing of profits, because in case of the cab, they were supposed to share the profits, right? It's not carrying out business for benefit of all. Like even in the cab example, the cab business, because they were going to share the profits of the business, that's also not the case. So the true test is this: existence of principals and agents relationship. Now in the board case, that is why I said 50% of the answer you've given. You're right, because sharing of profits was not there. But the key element is this. So the husband, because he was an employee, he was only an agent. He could not function as a principal. Now is the picture clear? See, it's so interesting. And there is another reason for it. Because in a partnership, a partner cannot enter into a contractual agreement with the firm. So the partnership deed itself is the contractual agreement. It's like saying, I'm going to sell this house that belongs to me to myself. See, the way law operates, until and unless you are familiar with these concepts, you will blindly say, let's do a partnership. And 90% of the cases, if it is drafted by a non-legal person, it will be, even if it is many times, even if it is drafted by a lawyer, it will have errors. Because they don't think through the whole thing, they will just do cut and paste, take a standard template, change it, put your name, put your address, execute.
So that means there exists a principal agents relation.
Agents relation. So all or any for all. So basically all or any would act on behalf of all. So that's the key test of a partnership. So, and all that should come through in the way you draft it. I just put this, I won't go through this. I won't go through this. You just read this because it's all straightforward. We've all talked about it. Only because we talked about co-ownership in one of the cases there. That was a classic, the boat was a classic example of co-ownership. And even the taxi also there was co-ownership. So everything it boils down to this key element. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll go through this. It's always the result of an agreement, partnership. There is community of profits and losses. So partners they may vary the percent in which they share the profits. So somebody may be a managing partner, so he may be entitled to 30% of profits. Somebody may be a general partner. You may have various distinctions. Consent for transfer of interest is a must. If a firm owns property, everybody has to agree, all partners have to agree to selling of that interest or property or asset. It can't be one person. So ideally, if a firm sells something and if you want to buy it, you'll have to get the signatures of all. No partition entitlement. Basically, in a partnership, I can't go and demand saying, I want to move out, so partition, give me my share. What I can do, because partnership is at will, so the partnership can be terminated. Only thing is they will have to form a new partnership. So what would happen with me is a settlement. So basically the accounts, the books will be looked at, they will settle with me, and then they will form a new partnership. So as far as the partnership per se is concerned, the old one which had me, who now wants to move out, that will end. So at a new partnership, suppose there are 5 partners and I am one of the partners and I move out, it is not a partition. So what they will do is they will settle my accounts. So I move out, the balance 4 partners, they will form a new partnership. So each time anybody dies, any partner becomes bankrupt, any partner becomes insane, new partnership deed would have to be formed. Existence for gain, basically that's the whole bottom line. Now we will go with this. We will go to company and the concepts there should be clear. Let's see. So now is it fully clear? The key thing is remember principal agent.
But if the partners they are working, suppose some CAs and all, they form an association. So they don't have fixed salary for themselves?
No, they do. They will have.
But
see, it is all
principal and agent.
It's mutual, right? So the partnership deed, you would have to internally set procedures for who's responsible for what, who will do what. You can't say, let's say if you are the managing partner, and you can't take 6 months off and not keep tabs on what is going on, and then come back and then say these things were done without my knowledge, so I'm no longer responsible for it or liable for it. So if there is a debt, loan, massive loan that has been taken and it has all been frittered away, You are expected to know what is going on. You can't disown responsibility for something that has happened without your knowledge.
So again, referring to the same thing, the CAs. So again, is there any cap, like so many, it should not be more than CAs in their association?
No, the partnership would have a cap, right? The number of people, the maximum 20, if 20 is the max that partners that a firm can have, it would be restricted. Beyond that, you look at a LLP. That is why, unlike the US, in the US, like law firms, they would have multiple offices, they would have multiple hundreds of partners.
CAs.
Or lawyers also,
Okay.
even advocate firms, large advocate lawyer firms, attorney firms, they have hundreds of lawyers.
Is there anything that CAs cannot have a company here, something of that sort here?
Not to the best of my knowledge. As far as a company is concerned, you can have a company for anything.
I was talking to a CA.
CA said specifically, it might be their institute. See, as a professional, if I am a bar council member, bar council may impose restrictions on me on certain things.
Okay, yeah.
So that I would not be aware, but logically speaking, the only reason why they would be barred is because professional ethics would not permit them to have limited liability is what I would think. Like, imagine a scenario of Satyam. PricewaterhouseCoopers, the chartered accountants of PricewaterhouseCoopers are also equally liable. Of course, there it was not limited liability, is always about pecuniary relationship. Criminal, if there is criminal breach of trust or a criminal offence committed, you will always be prosecuted individually. But I would imagine it is something to do with limited liability.
One more thing, in their sheets, whatever, they mention the number there. CA associates, so and so associate number.
So that, I think that they announce just to let people know how long they have been in existence. I think that has got something to do with they have to register the firm with their institute.
Exactly.
So that number is like every bar council member has a number.
Yeah,
that is individual.
Same story with doctors also.
So when you form a chartered accountancy firm, then also you have got to get it registered with the institute, and they will sequentially allocate a number to keep track of it. I think it is only something.
Maybe in that background, I don't think they can have LLP or a private company, probably.
No, I think the whole objective of an LLP is to bring in a lot more professionalism into some of these areas. I will check it out with a chartered accountant and find out what the true thing is. Okay, see, the best way of trying to figure out what a company is all about, is to compare it with a firm and then see how it is different. This is one of the slides in the partnership, the PPT. Let me just enlarge this. Right? Advantages. So what we will now do is we will start with company advantages and look at the disadvantages of a firm typically maps on to the advantages of a company. We said capital constraints of a firm is a disadvantage because if you are restricting it to number of partners, obviously you can't have more than that number chipping in money. So it is limited. Whereas in case of a company, there are no such restrictions. Sure enough, for a private limited company, you have a restriction of maximum of 200 members. But you go public, you can have thousands, lakhs of shareholders. So from that perspective, there will be absolutely no capital constraints for a company. That's a big advantage. Also, because a company is a separate juristic entity, it has juridical status. It can own separate property. A firm can also own separate property. There is a very simple but very important distinction between the two. when let's say a firm of 10 people, when they buy a property, they may register it in Messrs. So-and-so, represented by managing partner so-and-so, all that. But every partner has a right over that property. So truly speaking, although the registration document gives the name of the firm, represented by managing partner, all that,